Flagship phones are amazing. They look great, they feel great, their cameras are really good, but they also burn a huge hole in your wallet. Mid-range phones, on the other hand, are also high-quality devices, with just a few flagship features being removed. This last one is the sole reason why mid-range phones have gotten extremely popular, with 80% of the world's phone owners having a budget or a mid-range phone. What we have here is the Samsung Galaxy A53, the Apple iPhone SE 2022, and the OnePlus Nord 2. Which one gives the best bang for the best buck? Let the facts speak. Starting off with the display is pretty elementary, as it's exciting and is guaranteed to give us varying results. I just want to take a look at this iPhone and how small it is, like it fits perfectly into the palm of my hand. It's only slightly larger than the iPhone 4S, which was released all the way back in October 14, 2011. What? Oh, this is a gift from Grid Studio, and it looks awesome. All of its parts and specifications have been neatly laid out for all of you to see. You've got the display here, and the front camera has also been removed, along with pretty much every part being mapped out for tech enthusiasts. The rear camera is over here, the battery, the home button, so basically every single detail of this device is presented like a story, along with some custom touches by Grid Studio. They're handmade and the parts are clean to perfection. In my opinion, these would make great gifts for a friend or even yourself, but you should buy one now if you're interested, because the more these are sold, the more expensive they will become, and the harder they will be able to find because they're not produced anymore in this day and age. They've got plenty more of these cool frames on their website, like the Game Boy Classic, which is one of my favorites and will most likely hang on our wall in the studio, so make sure to check them out on gridstudio.cc and use our promotion code VERSUS for 15% off. So, the iPhone SE 2022 has a Retina IPS LCD screen that is 4.7 inches long. The resolution is 750 by 1334 pixels with a 16:9 ratio and 326 ppi density. It's protected by ion-strengthened glass with an oleophobic coating. The Galaxy A53 over here has a signature Super AMOLED screen that is 6.5 inches and can go up to 120 Hz. The resolution is 1080 by 2400 pixels with a 20:9 ratio and 405 ppi density. It is offered protection by a brand that should be quite familiar to you, Corning Gorilla Glass 5. And here we have the OnePlus Nord 2 with a Fluid AMOLED 90Hz HDR10 Plus display at 6.43 inches. The resolution is also 1080 by 2400 just like the A53, also with a 20:9 ratio and 409 ppi density. And guess what? It's also protected by Corning Gorilla Glass 5. So guys, everything you just heard is most likely the majority of specs that you're interested in. I personally prefer bigger screens because I watch a lot of videos on my phone, but there's still people that like smaller phones that fit in their hands and are more comfortable to use. I do have to be honest about one thing though, while this device fits pretty well in my hand, it's actually really small and it doesn't feel like a new generation phone. This here is pretty much the iPhone 8, which was released in 2017. They're identical in size, screen, camera setup, everything. The one difference is that the SE 2022 has updated technology, so just something that you should keep in mind. All of these phones have phase detection autofocus as well as optical image stabilization, which is really pleasing. The A53 has a 64 megapixel main camera as well as a 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 5 megapixel macro camera. It also has a 5 megapixel depth sensor, which results in better blur effects and rendering of the scene. Its front camera is 32 megapixels with HDR and can do 4K video, which is actually quite impressive. The SE 2022 has only one rear camera with 12 megapixels and a front camera with 7 megapixels and HDR. It is an Apple product though, which means their software is the main focus rather than the megapixels of their sensors. The OnePlus Nord 2 has a 50 megapixel main camera along with an 8 megapixel ultra wide and a 2 megapixel monochrome lens. Its selfie camera is 32 megapixels with auto HDR. Now then, here's a few photos for you to be able to put a visual to the comparison. In general, while the A53 has the most detail and the best understanding of dynamic range, the photos can be too dark sometimes and also have issues with color reproduction, which was commonly seen in the S21 series that had the Exynos chipset. The SE doesn't have this bluish vibe in its photos, and they generally look a lot nicer with regard to color. The Nord 2 is lagging a bit behind them, and this also carries on to the portrait photos, where the SE shows a performance similar to the iPhone 13 series, both of them being equipped with the newest Bionic chipset. For videos, the A53 for sure has the upper hand because everything in the frame is just detailed and crisp, whereas the other two can't really keep up. Yeah, it is a bit darker, but overall has a detail and quality advantage. We've already done a huge camera comparison video of these mid-range devices, so if you want to see the full results, you can check out that video after this one as well. Also, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to us if this content is interesting to you, because we'll be back with much more. And without wasting any time, let's jump straight into the performance category. We heated their engines up, not literally though, to prepare them for some benchmark tests, starting off with Geekbench. In the single core test, the SE 2022 blew the other two out of the water with 1744 points. The Nord 2 was only able to get 827 points, while the A53 fell all the way down to 748 points. On the multi-core test, the results were the same. The iPhone got a whopping 4,592 points, with 2,646 points for the OnePlus and 1,915 for the Galaxy. It's fair to say that the SE 2022 is the king of Geekbench, at least in this comparison. Will 3D Mark give us a different story with the Wildlife Extreme test? And the answer is no. The iPhone had 2,364 points for the best loop and 1,516 for the worst. The OnePlus managed 1,283 for the best loop and 761 for the lowest. The Galaxy's best loop was lower than the worst loop of the OnePlus at 640, but at least it was really consistent because it got 637 points for its worst loop. Exynos is just being hardcore outperformed, and I'd say Samsung has a maximum of one more year to do everything it can to bring Exynos chipsets up to a respectable level before they seriously start losing popularity and customers. Lastly, we wanted to really push these devices to the limit because why not? Adobe Lightroom rendering with 50 RAW and 50 JPEG files ought to give us some hilarious results. The Nord 2 actually wrapped things up in 12 minutes and 31 seconds, not bad. The SE 2022 came second with 21 minutes and 24 seconds, while the A53 actually needed 31 minutes and 32 seconds to solve this puzzle. As much as I like the A series, I'm currently unimpressed. A good question could be, at the very least, is the battery good enough so that even though the Galaxy A53 looks to be slower, we'd be relieved to know that it lasts pretty long? This time, the answer is indeed yes, but most of it is because the SE 2022 probably has the smallest battery of all time. I'm guessing you need some clarification. After we took all the footage that you can see in the long camera comparison video we did of these three phones, the iPhone only had 40% of battery life left, compared to the 72% of the OnePlus and 75% of the Galaxy. Let's take a look at the milliamp hour of their batteries so we can make more sense of it. The OnePlus Nord 2 has a 4500 mAh battery with the signature OnePlus 65 watt fast charging. It's advertised to charge from 1 to 100% in 30 minutes, which I'm pretty sure is accurate. The Galaxy A53 has a 5000 mAh battery and charges with 25 watts. Last up is the iPhone SE 2022, which only has a 2018 mAh battery and charges at 20 watts. So while there are quite a few fancy benefits of having an iPhone, one part that they've really underperformed is the battery for the new SE. If you're a heavy or even a medium user like me, there's no way you can keep this phone alive through the day without carrying a power bank. And finally, let's power through the design and show you what the devices look like, which you most likely know already, but it's always fun to hold these gadgets. I just want to start off with the SE 2022 because look at it, it's just so cute. I really like small phones, which is weird because I'd probably never use them since I watch so much Twitch and YouTube. You've got the classic volume buttons here, the home button, which is not really a button but a touch sensor, and whatever else you need is on the screen. The A53 looks the coolest to me, but holding it isn't the same cool feeling because it doesn't feel the best. I do like the camera setup though, as it's one thing that makes this phone look kind of premium. Buttons here, USB-C charging port here, and last but not least is the OnePlus Nord 2. It doesn't snap fit into your hand like the A53 or the SE 2022, but it still feels nice. Nice camera setup, got some buttons, I like the color too. So yeah, just a general short evaluation of their designs, and if you have any more questions about this, just let me know with a comment and I'll answer everything. So thanks once again guys for staying until the end of the video. Our huge phone giveaway is coming up soon, just so you don't forget, so sub to our channel and like this episode to make sure you won't miss it. I hope you enjoyed this detailed review, and I'll see you in the next video.